outlet store and choose a pair of shoes per individual in their family.
Yeah.
I think that was a pretty big step.
Yeah, that's definitely a good look. So when you say that you run for city council, what actually roles do a city council member have? What exactly are they over? What do they facilitate? What do they do exactly in that capacity?
So a city councilman or a city council person, a lot of people don't know what that individual does for their district. So I'll go ahead and break it down from the very top. The federal funding comes from the United States government,
Right.
and then it is received by the governor. Now I'm just listing individuals. It's received by the governor, and then that's distributed to the mayors all across the state. The mayors get it, and basically the Douglas County commissioners, they make sure everything is correct, and then Omaha City Council and Douglas County commissioners distribute the money accordingly to address disparities within their district.
Now, just for the people, when you say the governor, are you talking about Pete Ricketts, or exactly who gets the funds? So Pete Ricketts gets the money first.
Well, the state of Nebraska, Pete Ricketts, which is the governor of the state of Nebraska, he gets that funding technically, but it does go to the state of Nebraska, and then it goes based off of population. And that's why I mentioned the census earlier first.
So, not to cut you off, Leland and me and Tori, we always talk about the Census Bureau. Nobody fills that out. So is that a problem within the community itself?
I can honestly say that the expectations for, I'll just go with North Omaha, was about 62%. They were basing that on a historical track from every 10 years, 1990 to 2000 to 2010, 2020.
Okay.
So what I can honestly say is that North Omaha actually exceeded that number, went into about the 78, 80%. And I was a census field manager for that. I felt it was important to hire individuals from the community to work in the community so that we could get a better count. Because a lot of the times we miss out on important funding. Just the census controls so much funding for the community. I couldn't believe it. And also the population growth. I don't know if you guys have noticed that there's been a lot of individuals with out-of-state tags moving back into North Omaha specifically. So we've seen individuals moving back to North Omaha, but we also have seen individuals move out. So we just want to make sure, as far as from the census aspect, that everyone was counted as they were as of April 2020.
Okay. TV. I got one quick question since we're on the census. So now they did have an issue with as far as how certain individuals had to mark themselves on the census. And so when you have, let's say, Hispanics, they just have that Hispanic or that non-Hispanic option there.
Yep.
And then you have also other races that will have to check if they don't have nothing to check. Now, from what I understand, is that they automatically counted as white. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, you know, there is a lot of questions in regards to the ethnic. What do you claim as your race? What I can say is this, is that if you did not mark that spot, you're basically just not responding. It doesn't technically put you into a specific category. It just lists you as a person. Person 1, person 2, person 3, person 4.
But the person has to actually have race. What? Right?
Yeah.
But all the races isn't on the census.
It's not yet.
And so they have to choose. So if you have...
So who chooses that?
So there's, so you get an American Community Survey, that this American Community Survey is given out in conjunction with the Census Bureau. There's a couple operations. One is called NARFU, Non-Response Follow-Up. The other is AdCan, which is address canvassing. And then you have basically the QC, which is quality control, to make sure that everything is done correctly. As they gather the information from this census right here, there's a lot of individuals that there's an option where you can kind of type in what you feel that you are.
Okay.
Now, that's going to play a huge role in the upcoming next census. The hiring for the next census starts in 2028. So the hiring process starts in 2 years prior to the 10-year mark that was governed by us by the Constitution.
Okay.
I want to say this before we go any further. Keep in mind, this man grew up in a impoverished community. He is dope. So if you're not listening to what he's saying with any grain of, like, this man is dope. By the way, I'm just telling, sorry. But like, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated the things that you're saying. And obviously you've done your homework and you actually, I'm giving us my
I'm sorry,
kudos.
sir.
It's no. But when he talks, I'm listening. I'm on accident.
Yeah, I can see you listening. That's
On
what's up.
accident.
You hardly listening to
You
me.
motherfucker right, I was listening.
Hey, whoa.
Oh yeah. But no. But yeah, you know, I would say this, that the importance of responding to the census was key for North Omaha specifically, because we miss out on a lot of government funding, and all that funding is going to be aimed at a couple things that we'll discuss even with the city council run.
Right.
Infrastructure, conflict resolution, which goes around mental health, and then housing disparities, and also addressing some issues with policing.
Right. We definitely have to touch on that. All right, TV. We didn't stallball you. We're gonna
No, I'm just listening.
Debo stall him out.
Yeah.
Go on and chime in. Man.
Let's,
Go on and
let's get to the meat.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's start with this. Since the city council duties, one of them is overseeing effectiveness of programs. Are the programs that are running currently in District 2, do you feel that they are effective, in your opinion? I'm
Well-
talking about like the empowerment network and things like that, that we know that the money. Yeah, I'm putting you on. Hey, you're on the hot seat, man.
Yeah.
Do you, and you can make it general. I don't want you to call nobody out. Don't call nobody out. But do you feel, or you could say maybe 30% of them, 50%, 70%,
Yeah.
like. You know, we've had conversations
Oh,
before,
yeah.
so I see a lot
Yeah.
of disparities going on with a lot of these groups.
Yes.
A lot of, it's not, the money is not being distributed the way I think it should be. But that's my own opinion. I put myself out there and they know it. But what do you think?
You know, as a city councilman, I think the importance of knowing your role and position in that space is key, because technically a city councilman or person or woman is supposed to allocate funds to address specific disparities within a district. With that being said, you know, the current leadership in place feels that they are allocating funds in the right direction. Now, what you asked about my opinion
Your
about
opinion,
it. My opinion is that some of individuals that grew up in the community that we're from, they are able to do the same things that the organizations are doing, and I feel that they should be given the shot to be intervention, conflict resolution specialists, outreach workers. I feel that they should be given the shot to become those individuals, because that will produce jobs and income. Metro Community College has a class for outreach workers now, community health workers. I feel that, you know, individuals like ourselves should take those classes.
Right.
Coming from the backgrounds that we come from, because a community health worker is a multifaceted thing. It can be financial literacy. It can help with housing. It can help with healthcare. It can help with just getting individuals general health care. It don't even have to be mental health. I mean, and that just be an advocate that shows a positivity role into the community.
Right.
We have somebody in the chat that has a question which says, when do we vote for
You got
governor,
two
mayor,
good
city
questions.
council? I don't,
Go ahead.
Okay.
when is this,
Why am I-
when is this, coming up, when you'll be actually trying
I
to
didn't see.
be elected? When is,
None of
what time, when is this?
Yeah, the next general election will be in, well, May 2021 is the general election.
May 2021.
Yeah,
May 2020. Okay.
yeah, but the primary is in April of 2021.
April.
The stipulations to be placed on the ballot is that you have to have 100 signatures.
So that's in 4 months.
It's
Yeah.
in 4 months.
So that's 120 days. We ain't. So we.
Yeah.
So we gotta get to work. But go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off, sir.
Oh no!
Go ahead, boss.
And the most important part is getting 100 signatures. I'll be out in the community handing out flyers, masks, sanitizer for the community so that they're safe during the COVID-19 pandemic, and engaging with the residents. I know there's going to be a lot of individuals I come across that I've known or grew up with, and I just humbly ask for your support, your votes in this historic run to represent District 2.
I want to speak on one thing before Leland got a question. But before we go there, I guarantee you we will get you 100 signatures. Smartest dumb people
That.
and Mr. Abraham himself will find a location and we will be there from day to night till he get these 100 signatures. I don't care if it's
8:30.
snow in a blizzard.
8:30.
We will make sure. Look, we got 1,200 followers. If we can't get 100, we can't get 100 signatures, we're not doing our job right.
I can feel that.
And we're trying. Listen, the smartest dumb people is all about helping the community. Matter of fact, we got presents over for a single parent today. But
Yes, we do.
listen, we got to start somewhere, and this is for all of my people. Anybody that follows, black, white, Asian, Mexican, Latino, whatever you want to consider yourself. At the end of the day, the smartest dumb people is all about the culture. The culture is we all are minorities. We struggle. We have our own problems and pain. This man is one of the men that came from a huge struggle, and he made it out. And as he speaks, I listen. Like I said, I only listen to intelligent people. That's what this show is all about. Like Leland and Tori, when they talk, I listen. That's why we created this show. When this man, I came on here like I ain't got nothing to say to somebody from council.
We knew you were gonna say something.
And when he talking, I'm like,
You was gonna say something.
when he talking, I'm like, this motherfucker, he dope. You know what I'm saying? So if we can't come up with 100 signatures for this man, smartest dumb people is not doing their job. We have 1,200 followers.
Family members.
Yeah.
We ain't got no 1,200 fam. Oh, well, you want
Family.
to call
Family.
family? Oh,
You
go
want
ahead.
family?
I'm about to say,
No,
I'm
they're
not.
family
I'm not a
members. You know
vibe.
what I'm saying? I don't consider them to be
Yeah,
fans of fathers.
but
Our family.
We're going to
Y'all
find a
family
location
with
this week with him personally, and we're going to expose. We're going to put the location, and you will see. We will sign autographs, and we will have giveaways actually there for the smartest dumb people. Make sure you tune in, tap in. Make sure y'all keep us in your hearts and minds, because we're going to make it happen.
All right,
So
let
back
me
to what
read
you
something
said.
off. Hold on, let me read something off from Brandy.
Okay.
These are important elections. People think it's only important to vote every 4 years for president, then be upset when things still not going right because we forget to vote for those other people that are put into office. Don't just vote every 4 years and expect change. Robin Holdsworth Alford said, do the signatures have to be from residents in District 2?
Yes, the signatures have to be from residents of District 2 currently. And there's also another thing I want. That's a good thing, a point that you put out there. I can also register individuals. Say that you're out helping me get signatures, and the individuals are not registered to vote. We can get them registered, and I have a couple tablets that we can do that with, and it only takes about 3 to 5 minutes to register. And I think that's another aspect that I wanted to touch on, is that yes, we did a good job with the census data collection, but the other good job that we must do as citizens of District 2 to get the right representation is to be registered to vote for the right people. Because I know I grew up in North Omaha, and for the most part, it's been looking the same ever since I
North.
was born.
Well, hold on. It's changing a little bit in that Gifford Park, and they done built them houses right up there, them apartments, and so it's changing a little bit up around that area.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna, since we touched on that,
Yes.
I got a question on that. Okay, so with do you feel like that there's gentrification going on in the Gifford Park, in the Leavenworth area, in that area as a whole, from Leavenworth going down towards where they just turned St. Joseph Hospital, what we know it as, but Creighton Hospital, into $1,500 apartments? Do you feel like that there is gentrification going on in Omaha, in that specific area, and moving north?
You know, gentrification is a hot topic in our community specifically because traditionally, knowing the history about North Omaha, was originally a settlement for Native Americans. African Americans later come to that area and settled there. Then there was a mixture of individuals from different backgrounds that came to North Omaha. North Omaha was the original financial district for the city of Omaha.
I can see that.
So it was very important as far as transportation right along the river, the railroad. So there's a lot of important historical aspects to that. Do I feel that gentrification is happening? I feel that affordable housing is happening in a sense that if individuals doesn't have the right job to maintain their housing or the units or the apartments that they live in, then somebody else eventually will move into that place. Now, what I can say is this: as a Omaha Housing Authority Commissioner, during the Spencer and South Terrace development, I recognized that, and I motivated my other fellow commissioners to understand that that was a fear in our community. So we implemented a policy in the strategic planning that says that the individuals that are displaced from these developments will have first choice on going back into these new developments. I also implemented small business opportunities. There will be a Kennedy Square or a marketplace that's right where the Martin Luther King building is and so forth.
Right.
Hear him? Y'all hear him? Hear what he's
Thirties,
saying?
right?
Yes.
Oh, you talking about the old OHA building?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that'll be small business opportunities for the residents. Now the key word is for the residents. The residents first. The residents has first choice is those office spaces, and they also have first choice in the developments. Now there's a mixture of rentals and homeownership opportunities in these developments, which is important because District 2 is the district that has the most rental properties of all the districts in the city of Omaha. We also have a high poverty rate in the city of Omaha,
Right.
out of all the other districts. So when you start putting these things together, you start seeing a trend. You start seeing tardiness with schools being part of that connection, properties that are deteriorated. You start seeing poor infrastructure.
He's preaching.
The schools are not kept up or maintained as they should be.
Right.
Well, you got to know how to use community block rents and school bonds, and I think I'm that right person to understand the process to rebuild our community.
I think you care
Okay.
about the community for
Okay.
sure. For
Okay.
sure. He definitely needed a round of
Where
applause.
the bell at?
Right.
No, man.
Get the bell!
No, man.
This fantasy, man, I'm impressed.
You
I'm
got
not gonna lie.
something?
No, I
TV. You unpack? Go
Okay.
ahead, TV.
So
you hate the bell.
another one of the duties
That's
for
obvious.
city council is passing ordinances and resolutions. Do you particularly have any ordinance or resolutions in mind that you want to bring the district to?
Well, you know, I feel that the Native American population here has been long ignored. I'm working with a
That's
Native
us, by the
American.
way, but that's-
Shout out to Jesse. One of my
That's okay.
my best friend is Native American.
Shout
Go
out to
speak on
Leland.
it. Go on, speak
I'm
on
an
it.
indigenous. I'm indigenous.
Well, yeah.
Well, you know,
That's great.
and it goes into the history of North Omaha. I mean, the first encampment was in North Omaha, where there was a mixture of Native American tribes. Some of the individuals in North Omaha that are Native American, I think, have been long ignored, and I think it's time to create a program or ordinance of some sort to recognize that. And I'm going to be working with Native American advocates for the community to make sure that gets done properly.
Do you think that there's enough Native Americans in the community for that to be an actual issue? I mean, because they do got reservations
Yes.
in Nebraska, you know what I'm saying, Nebraska leading to Iowa. So do you think that their lack of representation on the political stage is an issue in District 2 itself?
I think so. You know, one of the things that I try to always influence Native Americans to do is to join a board or a committee or a council, because you're going to have organizations coming in, giving away different things, even from pantries to clothes, housing services. Well, I think Native Americans should have strong representation in this community. I also feel that African Americans as well should have that strong presence in when it comes to allocating funds to where it's needed.
All right, so I want to say this, and this might just be the crazy in me, okay? So
Yeah, man.
when he originally, this is Leland's guess, right? So when he originally,
He's our guest.
but I understand it, but I'm saying like you suggested we interview him, right? I'm about to explain to you how God works. This is God's plan, okay? So my best friend that I've discussed multiple times about you coming onto the show is Native American, and not in my. There's no way I thought that this would even happen, but as she's watching, which is my best friend, that's Native American, that
Shout
deals
out
with-
to you.
Shout out to Jesse.
Yeah.
But for you to say this and for the things that you said, it speaks volumes on what you're trying to accomplish. And I guarantee you won Jesse's vote, and she's one of those people that you're speaking to specifically. And that's what I'm saying. Like this might be God's plan, because I'm like I don't know what council is. I
You're
don't
a
know.
Republican, though,
That's why
yo.
we got
Jesse
to
is not a Republican. She's not a Republican.
I'm playing.
But
Go ahead,
you're
I'm sorry,
speaking
go ahead.
volumes and aspects that bro, you don't.
All right.
You don't.
So since we touching on ordinance, right? Are you familiar with the Good Neighbor ordinance?
Yes.
And-
Okay.
Whoa,
So, yeah.
whoa,
Let him
whoa,
unpack. Let him
whoa, whoa,
unpack.
whoa.
You gotta let him unpack.
So now, since you're familiar with it, do you agree with the ordinance?
You know, the good ordinance, good neighbor ordinance was started by Ben Gray.
Being great.
It was in regards to address establishments that allowed individuals to bring liquor to their establishment versus buying it at the bar or club.
So the B.O.B. So
B.O.B..
the B.O.B.s, okay. So
Yeah.
that's the initial,
That's the initial
that was
thought.
the initial, okay, go ahead.
Then later, it really focused on noise ordinance, individuals loitering or hanging out, and then throwing bottles and trash onto the ground, urinating. Well, you know,
He doesn't like to urinate, by the way.
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
that diabetes.
yeah, but and I can honestly say, but no, and I can honestly say this is that individuals that have those establishments. Yeah, I know. I see. Those individuals that I would say that I'm for it, because think about the community and the impact it has in the morning when you wake up and you see these things, the trash, the litter, the broken bottles, and then
Outside there, when you pull it up, I'm sure.
but now that's in regards to establishment. Now bring your own
Right.
bottles. If it's controlled and you have the right security, the right rules
Thanks,
and laws, regulations in place
Right.
to govern those individuals, then it can be
Beneficial.
a beneficial thing.
That's so you
Okay.
believe. All right, this
well,
is.
hold on, time out.
But let's say
he's
he's saying that he believes in bring your own bottle. right? That's what he's.
I
He said if it's controlled.
If it's control.
Okay.
But I'm saying, like, we need to hear that. Like, we drink. We drink.
Okay.
We
But
need
you
to hear
also,
the-
but you also missed that they took the original
I didn't miss anything.
the original intent for the ordinance, and then they flipped it into something else because it had nothing to do with bars in its original intent. Its original intent was to control establishments that was bring your own
Establishments.
bottle.
Huh?
You want a shot to Tim?
No, man. I'm,
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
on
That-
water, man.
that-
I got
You drinking
my-
that
I got
water
my-
like
I got
it's
my
shots.
cup. Look,
That,
this for Lime Measy too. Not to cut you off though.
Yeah,
no
shouts
more,
out to
no
Measy.
more red cups, Lime Measy. We all got our own personal glasses.
We got personal
man. That's
glasses.
what that is
Hey,
right
speaking
there,
of-
man.
speaking of that,
I'm on H2O though.
We're not changing the subject, but we all have our own personal glasses,
Oh, yeah,
which
we have our
and shot
own
glasses,
personal
which
things,
we
man.
actually told
So
you can
that's
buy.
nice.
Back to
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Got that good
hold on,
Icelandic
but I
water
gotta
in here.
unpack
Get
this.
that good pH.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this in there right quick.
that's
And-
LV the Great. You can buy those glasses for $5.
But this is the red cup though.
Get my-
Don't get it
this is-
twisted.
get-
This is the red cup.
So, all right, now with that said, since you know that, go ahead. You
Shout out to Glitter Bombs, by the way. Glitter Bombs makes everything for us. Shout out to
Yeah,
Glitter
shout
Glitter
out,
Bombs.
shout out, man.
All right.
Lovely.
So now with that said, now you understand that the original ordinance didn't have nothing to do with licensed liquor establishments that was having their customers buy liquor.
Yes.
Right?
It-
Okay. So it moved from that
Yes.
into targeting black bars. Since that ordinance have been, since Ben Gray, we're going to call his name out. We don't spare nobody on here.
Ben.
Since Ben Gray, which is a great guy, I don't know, I don't think he got the same gall as my guy here to come sit at the table, but if he do, he'd be more than welcome. So, but you're agreeing with an ordinance that have went from its original intent, now that it's targeting black bars and putting small business, black owners out of business. The Rain out of business.
The Rain
the
was
straight
bring on
shooters.
bottles and shit.
Nuh-uh. That's what I'm saying. The Rain was having fights. And so then they took that ordinance. They took that ordinance.
Easy, crazy.
They took that ordinance that was intended for bring your own bottle and applied it to him. Straight shooters. Good ordinance neighborhood. Out of business. You can go long, you can
Is
go
it from the Bring Your Own Bottle?
it's from the Good Neighbor Ordinance.
Yeah,
Which
it
was
the Good Neighbor
it
Ordinance
was
is the Bring Your Own
originally
Bottle.
inside of that,
Right.
but-
That was the original creation.
So neighbors would bring their own bottle
No,
because they're in the
not
neighborhood.
neighbors,
No.
but,
People,
patrons.
period.
Yeah, the patrons.
People, period.
Okay.
And so, like, say the after hours. They got, or matter of fact, I got a better one. Club Omaha. You could bring your own bottle there. You know what I'm saying? You could go in, bring your own bottle, drink, chill. So, but then the ordinance turns around and now it's targeting black bars.
But why black though?
Because these bars that's getting shut down is black. When's the last time you seen a bar in Benson get shut down? When's the last time you seen a bar in
But
downtown?
is Benson
Hold on.
Bring Your Own Bottle?
Hold on.
No,
You
I'm
gotta
just-
explain
But
it
it's
again.
not
Hold on,
really
you're
all
not.
about the whole
You're not.
I feel like
ordinance
that
about bringing
I
matters.
was talking about, no, it doesn't matter because then they started targeting businesses that where they don't have a policy of bring
I'm just
your own bottle.
letting you get. I'm
I'm
arguing with
getting
him
that.
to
I'm
digest
all in.
it.
Hold on.
Low key.
And so then they started targeting business where it wasn't a bring your own bottle business. It was a regular bar, a regular licensed liquor establishment. And so
But-
it didn't have nothing to do with bring your own
But
bottle.
mostly patronized by black
By
people.
black people.
Right.
The only bar in downtown that ever got shut down, and every time I've been downtown, it was like fight night. 20, 30 brawls, 50-man brawls. Young lady got lost her life innocently. The only bar they ever target was Denim and Dynams. Then they changed it to Sangria or Margaritas.
You on your
Yeah,
shit
that
tonight,
was-
Leland. You on
And
your
so,
shit tonight.
and so,
You know what?
He
We
on
talked
his
about
shit.
it. We
and
talked
so
about it.
when you say that you agree with that,
I'll explain it.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Leland, for allowing me to the voice in this important discussion. You know, what I'm saying is that those bars that you named off, the Rain, they also sold liquor in their bars, and they also allowed individuals, which they opened an option up for individuals to bring their own bottle. Now, when
Is that on record?
well, what I can say is that there's
I'm gonna have to Google that.
so a lot of the places, they say, it's okay to bring your own bottle, and it's not really technically on record. But remember what I was saying before about the specific laws, regulations that establishment has in place with the proper security, which will deter or not allow individuals to do that. And so my point is that yes, it protects the neighborhoods, because we know that if trash and broken bottles are out in the community, also it follows sometimes graffiti. Individuals may start thinking, because individuals start believing and thinking like, hey, this establishment is allowing this in the community, then it's okay for me to be disruptive. It spreads out into
Litter is never.
It don't spread into the Benson. It don't spread into the Benson, this bar district area. When was the last time a Benson bar was shut down by the Good Neighbors Ordinance? When was the last time, besides the hip hop bar on the corner of Denim and Diamonds, and then they switched it up? They even had the bar right across the street from the shooters, and then put a bar right back in where shooter was at.
Now, those areas are typically what you would call entertainment districts. Now, before I speak on that, Benson is not in District 2. Benson is right. That's
on the cusp.
It's right on the cusp of the border.
Okay, so it's not, even though it's in the border of 72nd and Military.
It's not in District 2.
It's not in District 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Benson has no say so on what you're trying to accomplish.
Benson has no say so in what.
But do y'all put pressure on, what is it, District 1, 3? What district is that?
What I would do is be an advocate to the individual that is the county commissioner, to address, the Omaha City Council member, to address their that issue. And we could go there, we could walk in and say, hey, listen, we got to have that experience. And I like to bring up things, and I like to speak about things that I have knowledge on.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Omaha Housing Authority side, we had an issue with property damage, individuals complaining about the
Roaches.
the environments, the roaches, the different things.
No, that's
Yeah.
known. That's known. This is what I hate about OHA. They care, and I'm glad you're an OHA commissioner. You're talking to a product
Just have
of OHA. Like I'm saying, like I grew up in OHA environment my whole life, but that's what was okay. That was the acceptable rule for OHA.
Yeah.
So, but it's inhumane.
What?
It's inhumane.
Who
Roaches.
told you that?
Roaches. I know.
They told you that
I
back
don't need.
then?
I don't need you to tell me, Leland.
I'm asking you who told you that.
I'm not a councilman. I'm talking to the councilman.
I'm asking you who told you that
I
was
know
okay.
for a fact that OHA, they're like, as long as your stove is clean, as long as your appliances is clean, as long as your rooms is clean, and they see roaches walking on the wall, they didn't give a.
They wasn't tripping.
They didn't care.
Yolanda
But-
got a good one. Go ahead, son.
But you tried. But
I'm just asking who told you that.
I told myself that from living in that
don't matter.
environment.
I lived in a unit and I didn't have roaches, so I don't know.
You didn't never have roaches your whole life.
When I lived in Vietnam Projects, I didn't have
I'm not
roaches.
talking about Vietnam. I'm talking about homes.
So
Not Vietnam.
Well,
Projects.
the home that I had
I didn't even know
roaches
you
in-
lived in. I'm from Vietnam, by the way. Shout
The
out
home
Vietnam.
that I lived
But
in,
I didn't know you lived in
My
Vietnam.
dad
This is new to
owned,
me.
and they had roaches. Every other home after
But was
that,
your dad
when
on
I was
OHA?
Section 8, no, he owned the home. When I was on Section 8 housing with my kids and my lady, wasn't no roaches.
All right, so
You know what I'm saying?
I want him to unpack this. Forget the roaches. I was on Section 8 with my wife for 8 years. This is to you. And OHA, I had to lie with a woman that I was loving and being with
Okay,
every
shoot out
day.
that question first. Shoot out Alexa's question first, because that's what he asked you.
Okay.
Why can't couples live in OHA?
Thank you. He's
Go
blessed.
ahead.
It,
He was asking
he's
already,
definitely.
so
But I'm saying, like,
you know,
when we decided to get married, it was it.
It was a wrap. Gotta
Like
go.
no more OHA. And we had, this is a black family. Keep this in mind. This is a black family that have a meeting to just like we want to get married. And we want to raise our kids and have more kids.
So we gotta
like,
give up.
We got to give up
we gotta give up
OHA.
these privileges.
Can you
Right.
explain to me? OHA needs to change the law because we're already behind, man. You know
Is that
this.
a law, though? First of all, we got to address that. Is it a law? Can you be married and still receive Section 8?
Yeah,
Statute.
yeah. So one of the things that I'll just tell you a little bit of history, and it's going to go right into what we're talking about. So my mother, she was the Douglas County Housing Commissioner back in the 60s, 70s,
Oh,
80s.
shit.
and
So you got a
90s.
long line to this.
Yeah.
This ain't nothing new.
This is bloodline shit.
Yeah, she and a group of women from Omaha, Nebraska, sued the federal government to reformulate Section 8 to allow individuals to move out of the projects.
Oh, word?
That was an important
That's dope.
thing.
That's dope.
She understood.
Look, we ready now. We got a Rosa Parks son in the
Now,
building.
shit.
Like a Rosa
Okay.
Parks son in the building.
Dope shit right there.
But it's dope.
And she as a woman, she my father died of cirrhosis of liver.
Sorry, there.
But she
Salute the pops.
raised us up in the best way that she could, and she understood that everybody should have the opportunity, with a family or a single, to move where they want to go. So that gave birth to the Portability Act, which gave birth to the Housing Choice Voucher, the HCV, and what we call Section 8.
Okay.
So that's how it helped. Eventually, it helped millions of people across the United States of America. That's something.
So
that
then they
started
was
right
able to
here in
port
Omaha.
out of the projects into these homes, even though that they was in a relationship and was married.
Yeah, and so what? And just to
So
break.
You on?
And so with that being said, she was a resident commissioner. So by law, there has to be one individual that is a commissioner that receives direct services from HUD.
Yeah, right.
So that's what I was. I was a commissioner. I was a resident commissioner. So I received direct services from HUD. And with that being said, I was married to my wife.
Are you saying hood or hook?
HUD,
HUD,
Housing Urban Development.
Yeah, HUD.
Ben Carson,
Ben Carson, Omaha Housing Authority is an independent housing organization.
Listen.
I know.
Well, with me, I want to say this. Like I'm a.
you gotta go unpack that.
No,
I'll let you
no, but I want to say this.
Smartest dumb.
I
She get a little dumb every now and then. Don't get a-
But me personally, I'm mad at OHA because I'm mad at OHA as you're a product of OHA. We both grew up in OHA, but I'm saying like,
They loving you on the chat, Steve.
They
They loving you.
loving
Big
you.
love,
Yeah,
man.
thank
Man, don't be giving
Oh,
up.
big
Hey,
love.
hold on. Normally, that's my love. Y'all
Yeah,
easy.
true, no, your
but I want to say
territory.
this. I'm
I'ma have to
angry
throw him
at
out the
OHA
window,
because
easy.
like it changed
Easy.
the diameter on where I had to figure out life. And what I mean by that is like, if you don't know my background, I was with a woman on Section 8. My wife, I was with her for
She gonna be
8,
like, why
9,
don't you
10
keep
years
telling
old.
everybody we was on Section 8?
No, it has to be because
She gonna do it like,
we left. You know what's crazy is we left Section 8. We left Section 8 when my son was 5. My son is 19.
Right. No, I
14 years
know,
old.
I know
But I'm
it.
saying like Section 8 meant so much to us, and like we had to have a heart to heart, and we damn near
With
cried
yourself.
with ourselves. And to like, is this the right move? And that's fucked up as a black family. They're like, should we get this rental assistance for this home that costs $600 a month, and we're only paying $200 a month? Because I gotta move my clothes to prove to them.
Right.
Can I touch bases on that real
Yes,
quick?
sir.
Go ahead.
So under the Section 8 program, there are certain income guidelines that you have to meet. Even when you're married and you are, let's just take a household of 4. Then you have to meet a guideline of, I think, 65,000. If you make over 60,000 or something like that, I'm just throwing out numbers now. But if you make over that guideline, then you don't qualify for housing. Now, what I tell individuals, in order to bypass that, is the home ownership program. The guidelines are much higher, and you write a self-sufficiency contract with your housing choice voucher worker. When you write that contract, it says that within the 5 years, the self-sufficiency plan is gearing you to home ownership. That home ownership allows you to get a stipend or an escrow. That I've wrote checks out to individuals that got an escrow for, and they built up $20,000.
But do OHA,
And this is OHA.
but do OHA have classes? I want to say this because I had sisters that's off of OHA now. Shout out to my sisters. I have sister-in-law that's still on OHA. She make $900, and I'm not putting nobody. I'm speaking hypothetically. She make $900 every 2 weeks. And her rent went from $0. You have to understand how fucked up excuse my French, how messed up OHA is. She went from making $0, rent paid, when she made $900 every 2 weeks, which is just $1,800 a month. With 4 kids, she literally, her rent was $700. They basically was like, we paying $2 on your rent.
Well,
Like, how is that fair to the like with the Indian program or the Native American programs? They have programs that where they have these rental assistance programs that have nothing to do with their income. Why ain't OHA doing the same thing for black people?
And this is what I would say about that. You know, when we talk about different communities that are affected by housing disparities, we always think about African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, because usually we live in low-income areas. We also are affected by different underlying conditions. And I just want to give the audience some of my background as far as education-wise. I have my degree in behavioral science, chemical dependency counseling, and I was the only commissioner on the Omaha Housing Authority board to have those credentials. So my first thing is to address the household structure, and that includes the husband and wife and the children. And we made some important changes. We made important changes to the income guidelines that we had to submit to HUD in order to get approvals, because we felt that we're excluding individuals that need help for services based off of them succeeding. And it didn't make sense, because if we have a self-sufficiency program that tells you to become successful, then why would we hamper or burden those individuals by saying, well, now we're going to pay like $10 on your rent? So we increased the income guidelines. Another thing we recognized, and this is recently, so I was a commissioner for about 3.5 years.
you ain't with OHA no more?
No, so when you run for office, are you taking that journey in that
You have to
direction?
come out of there.
Yeah, you have
So
to.
we got to get him in. We got to
No,
get him in.
we gotta get him in. We're getting
No,
him
we
in.
getting him in.
I don't give
We
a
getting him in.
Listen, you're getting in, sir.
We got one more because we only got so much
We got,
time left.
11 minutes.
We gotta do.
The giveaway.
depends on-
So we got
Oh,
a giveaway
we got a
coming
giveaway?
up. Yeah, but we got
This
one
will
more
be-
question.
We're going to do that at 8:30.
We probably gonna go a little bit
Before
over.
8:30.
Yeah,
Can I-
we're gonna go a little bit
Can
over.
I tell you one more
Go ahead.
thing about?
Go ahead.
So, as a returning citizens in the community advocate world, they call individuals that come out and don't have nowhere to stay, they say that they're couch surfing. And those are usually individuals with non-violent felony offenses, usually drug charges. So during my time as a commissioner, I did something that was very, I would say, historic, which is convince my fellow commissioners that we changed the criteria from 6 years after being released from jail to 2 years after being convicted. That allows nonviolent felony offenders to come back if they go and get incarcerated for 2 years and they meet the guidelines. We're allowing them to come in and get housing assistance, because we know that couch surfing usually leads to evictions, which is in District 2 we have a high number of evictions. And that's also related to property
Section
damage. Section 8 or housing in general.
Period.
Yeah, just across the board.
Crime, anything, everything. But
Yeah.
go ahead and finish
You
breaking
can't
down
get
what
felon
you
on
did.
Section 8. You can't.
You can, so every independent housing organization has the ability to change their criteria to address the community.
Right.
And so we made those changes. We submitted that to HUD, and HUD accepted those changes. Now, what HUD does, I'll just give you an example of what HUD does. HUD says, we have these rules in place. If you would like to follow these rules, you can. So typically, independent housing organizations like Omaha Housing Authority, Lincoln Housing Authority, Bellevue Housing Authority. They usually typically follow HUD's guidelines. What we did is that we wanted to show that we're trying to work with individuals returning from incarceration that have went through the programs while they were locked up, and they're showing that, hey, listen, I just need a job, and come back out and be successful. So many times we have seen individuals with felony convictions still being held to that metrics, being not allowed good jobs, being not allowed to get homes. So I think that would contribute to the success of individuals, so they can see value within themselves. And then once you start seeing value within yourself, you start seeing it in your community, and it just starts vibrating through the neighborhood.
I agree with you. It's product. That's the definition of product of your environment.
I can agree with that. You got
Okay, yeah. This is gonna be like a two-part question.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make it real general. What do you see as the true interests of the community, and do you think the community's interests are, what I want to say, do you think the community's interests are realistic compared to the structure of how things go from U.S. government, governor, mayor, commissioner, city council, etc.?
Yep, and I will tell you right now, it starts with city council. Local government is important, and what a city councilman or a person is supposed to do is engage with the residents of that district. I showed, my history as far as work, being a day house manager, working with the homeless and doing outreach to get health care. Also working with Charles Drew as a public housing community health worker, going directly into the community, talking with the people, hearing their likes and dislikes. And then also with Omaha Housing Authority as a commissioner, we did something that's never been done before. We included the residents into the strategic planning for the developments.
Mm-hmm.
Because for so long, the residents has just been given things and not having no say so, and just
Right.
and it's just given. I grew up in the Logan Fondell Projects, Vietnam, and we were just given that.
a unit.
Given what?
A unit.
A unit.
But you got to keep in mind, as I say this, we're so far behind. We should be given something. We was guaranteed 40 acres
No,
of
he's
the
not
mule.
saying that.
Well, no,
He's
he's
not
not.
saying
He's
that.
not. He's not like a
He's saying
handout.
that.
He's saying that they will come in and implement changes without the
Without their
input
voice.
of the
Oh, okay.
community.
Give it.
Without-
Okay.
without
Yeah.
the
So
individuals-
I misunderstood what he was saying,
That's
but
what they live
but you know, and I know, being from that community, it's hard to deal
It's
with.
the smart as dumb people.
Smart as dumb. Smart as dumb.
They can go to either extreme.
All right, I lost you. I lost you. You said give it. I'm like, give it.
This is a moderator right now.
Yeah.
I gotta go hard
Let me
though.
get one off. Let me get one off. Let me get one off. Let me
Give
get
it.
one off. Let
We
me
ain't got
get-
Let's just say keep cooking, man. We all right.
Pause. Let me get one off. I just want to get one pause. I want to get one off. Let's see. Let's touch on addressing policing in the community. And
We ain't talked about that.
do the city council have any umbrella over that section of the policing in the districts, or is that some strict? Is that a higher level than the city council? So, what would you do, if possible, if you is in that role to address or make any type of changes to policing in
Yeah.
the District 2 community?
And I know that the police they're pretty much directly under the mayor, right?
Yes.
So
And
I would
city-
have to appeal to a
Well,
higher level, right? To get
Well-
some things done or what?
well, actually, the police contract is approved by city council.
Okay.
So, with that being said, the city council person that's in that district would make sure that certain things was addressed during their contract agreement. In regards to the police department and I'm gonna go with surveillance first, because all the time we hear the police helicopter over our heads, and there's due to issues within the community. Now, some of the things that I would implement, because you asked me about ordinance and policies that I would implement, I would empower conflict resolution centers. Conflict resolution centers will be designed for individuals that have changed their life, like yourselves, come in and be community health workers and go into the communities that you're from and help the individuals that live there. Now, I would also say that in order for that to work in conjunction with law enforcement, those community health workers have to have some kind of form of deputizing, in a sense, that the police officers respect those individuals when they come onto the scene and don't be treated like they're criminals as well. Because
that's good shit right there. Excuse my language. That's good shit. Right
Easy.
excuse those people, but I had to put that out there like that.
Well,
Alright, you cutting us off?
it's time. It's giveaway time.
Well, I got one.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Who
I didn't know just saying it was good shit on that, but he was still talking.
I got one more.
more question.
I got one more.
and then
Well, hold on.
Let's let him finish because he was.
All right, I got one more.
Go ahead, keep on.
I got to know the question to this.
yeah, and then with the conflict resolution centers, that's bringing jobs back into North Omaha. And since it's a class that's taking place, you can create a union so that you can strengthen the community and also bring a new network of jobs that can go into coding, because that conflict resolution centers can teach coding, technology, and one of the ambitious projects I will start on first day of office is I will work on revitalizing 16th Street down by Carter's Lake, and taking away those junkyards and those areas and putting tech hubs there, so that they can work in conjunction with those areas of East Omaha that has those big businesses, and then people that's locally living in the community, in the neighborhoods, could be
Down there on
the ones that's
16th.
employers working.
What's old boy name that do the drones?
Are you talking about Ian?
Yeah, Ian.
Yeah, Ian Michael.
Yeah, he did some good work, and he got some grants for them drones and programs. Now I got one more question. I know my host, the owner, the owner.
Shout out to the owner.
Shout out to the guests. No, I'm playing. All right, hold on. So
Sounds like they want you to
How-
come back.
how-
He
Come
coming back.
Hey,
He coming back. We're gonna do a show
hold
with
on.
him.
Now,
The signature.
how
stuff.
do you feel about when people make the notion that defunding the police, is that now when they say defunding, now to my understanding, that means that they want to cut off the military tactical part of the funding to the police.
Yes.
Is
Good question, Layla.
that what that is? Explain
they
to
trying to
us.
defund the police, man. Even looking around the
Explain.
nation,
Explain.
they defunding the police, man. You got police
We-
stations shutting down.
Man,
Crime going all the way up. It ain't doing nothing.
They let them do whatever in
Man,
Seattle.
man, it's going
But
down.
so explain the defunding part, because we out here screaming defund. Now, do we know what we defunding? Do we know what that means?
No, they don't.
Break that down for us,
Yeah.
if you can.
No,
And I didn't mean to pop one up. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
you know,
Go ahead.
you know,
Our PR got to give them that before we give them those. Our PR, we working on it.
yeah, and defunding the police has been a slogan of different organizations that within the community that has been against police brutality or abuse of power of police officers in instances where citizens that are unarmed or in fear of their life have been killed. I will say this, is that as a day house manager at Sienna Francis House, I worked closely with law enforcement because usually they are the first lines of defense to address the homeless issues in regards to mental health.
Right.
And then they would bring them, either they would lock them up, or they would take them down to Sienna Francis House, because it's not a lot of places to address mental health issues.
Right.
And so a lot of the times they will always talk about, Steve, I wish we had some kind of behavioral health advocate to go out with us so that we can address these issues appropriately. Now, I don't want to knock anything that the Omaha Police Department does in regards to training, but I'm just giving you what I've heard from officers as they've interacted with the homeless. Now, I feel that instead of defunding the police, I think funds should be reallocated to hire behavioral health advocates. Do it as a test pilot. And see what that does in regards to
How they handle situation.
yes, and that because behavioral health advocates are trained in conflict resolution more
Why ain't
intensely
police?
than police departments are trained in it, but just think about this. Your job is to protect and serve, and law enforcement. So law enforcement means that you're upholding the law that is written
But was
for the city.
In the Constitution.
In the
So you
Constitution.
sworn to uphold the Constitution if you are a police
No,
officer.
not necessarily, because most of them don't know about the Constitution. They swore to uphold and protect these businesses.
I agree.
And so with that being said, and with that being said, I think that there's things that they're not trained in, that they're trained in a 4-week course, or they're trained periodically, or they might
Which is way too short. 4
Yeah.
weeks.
yeah.
A teacher got to go
You know
4
what I mean?
years.
It's another one.
Hold on.
We talking
A
about
teacher
people.
got to go 4 years. A police got to go 40 hours.
No, a police officer should definitely have to have an education, an actual education.
I mean, well, some of them go for criminal justice.
No, I'm good.
No,
I'm
well,
gonna ask the main
because they-
ones. You
they-
kind of,
I-
as you was just brushing through, you was just answering a lot of
All right,
questions.
so
Are we done?
Yeah.
we're
I got
definitely
something to
talking. No,
yeah, we got
you're coming back. Listen, but
Yeah.
we're not done with you. We're actually going to make sure
Oh.
that you get those. We're going to actually make sure that you get those 100 signatures you need. We're going to do another thing at location to where people can actually come.
Yeah, we gotta
and
get organized.
Yeah,
Right.
We're going to. Listen, this man, all of the comments we have from our fans, they love him.
Oh, man.
We're not going
Great
anywhere
guy.
with
We'll get you
you.
a shirt,
We're
too.
going to
We'll
make
get you
sure.
a
We're
shirt,
going
man.
to make
We'll get you a
sure
shirt, man.
that
Thank you.
whatever we can do to make sure you win or even get you
On
on
the
the ballot.
ballot.
That's our job for the
I
next.
mean, because now
3-4
you know he's going
weeks.
up against, because being great. So we talking about black on black at its highest.
Big
So
Ray.
yeah, that's who the
So
district
yeah,
two.
that's who I'm running against. But
That's who he's running
and-
against.
Well, we'll just treat it like the Tiger King. We want you on the ballot.
Not
That's
the ice, not the rub, not the stuff you rub on your knee.
the
Or
Tiger
rice.
King. The
not
Tiger
the rice.
King. The Tiger King.
Not the rice. Not being great at rice.
No. Listen, we gotta give away. We gotta give away. Listen, we gotta give away. We got a couple presents. The smartest dumb people. Shout out to TV. Leland. Hey, listen. Shout out to TV. Leland was
Hey, hold
doing
on.
other.
Go ahead, my bad.
Let the whole speed.
Because he got let him
Let
close out.
oh, well, I just want to say
Special
that,
guest.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead,
You
go ahead,
know,
go ahead, Steve.
well, let him-
thank you for letting me be on the show. It was
Thank you.
most
Good job.
definitely a pleasure to be on the show, and I hope that we come back and talk about a few more other things in the
Can I
community.
get a? No, I want.
Are you-
No, I want.
You're
No, I
talking-
want that. I want that.
That's him doing that District 7. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hey, that's him doing that District 7 handshake.
Leland,
Well-
LV got a. No, go ahead.
But you know, and I just want to say this that
No, y'all
I feel that
No, it's fine.
I feel that I could bring what I could bring to the community is new eyes to strengthen existing connections, create business opportunities for the citizens of District 2, and also address some of the gang issues and the violence that's
Yeah, we
happening.
didn't touch on that. We're going to have to bring you back on.
He
that.
coming back. I
Yeah,
promise
you
you.
gotta come
This is
back.
not a one-time thing. You're coming back. Like I feel like the energy that you gave us, sir. I didn't like. Like I said, Leland suggested this, and I was like, I was against it. Let's be honest, I was against it. But when I listened to you talk, and you being from the projects like I was, the same projects I was from, and only being 3 years older than me, it says a lot about your character. And like what people know about me is like what my close realm know about me. This is why Leland and Tori is on the show, because like I love dope people. Like dope people. There's people that help you that they don't even know they're helping you. You helped a lot of people today with just the information you gave.
He swears he's just gonna be sitting back. I'm just gonna
But we gonna do the giveaway.
Did you get a new Facebook page?
I did because I changed it up, but I still got. I put it as Stephen Abraham,
Right.
and then I got the Stephen.Abraham District 2, and that's the Facebook page
No, I
too.
asked you because when we told him about you, he was like, "Man, I went search